Hi, guys, and welcome to the first episode of
Trust
Me podcast. I've always wanted to start this podcast, and I was thinking about this idea, but I've always been like a little bit insecure to start this. I have a little bit of problem reading stuff because I'm a little bit dyslexic. Also, English is not my first language, and I always make mistakes. But yesterday, I was on Instagram and I saw this post that is like, you should just go ahead and do it.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, like you can't do your 100th episode if you don't do your first.
Exactly.
So take it easy on me. This episode and this show in general is going to be about one thing that I really, really enjoy and love, which is horror stories, real horror stories from people. And the source is Trust Me. All these people claim that their stories are real, and we're gonna take their word for it.
Exactly.
And then the next part of the podcast is talking about your dating advice, making you feel a little bit better about yourself after listening to these horrific stories.
Exactly, and you should be grateful that your dating life isn't like the horror story.
Yeah, so you feel a little bit better about yourself.
Exactly.
After the horror stories. And yeah, I've always been told that I give really good dating advice. People constantly keep telling me about the dramas. And I keep giving them free advice, so might as well just do it on the podcast.
Exactly. Get a chance for everybody to hear it now.
Yeah.
Right.
And why ask me for advice? I don't know. I'm just good at it, I think. I have a lot of life experiences. I read a lot of books. I'm good at like looking at things as a third person. I'm a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to give you honest advice, and I don't have any benefits from doing so. So it's just going to be honest advice. My name is Case, and this is my co-host.
I'm John.
And welcome to Trust Me.
With a lot of S's.
I was waiting on you to join.
I'm so sorry. I wanted to see how long you're going to go.
Let's get into the first story.
All right.
It was around 11:20 p.m. that night. I was dragging myself home, exhausted after a tiring night study sessions at school. But there was no one on the street, which I thought was strange. I usually see a lot of people, even at night, since my apartment complex is pretty big. Anyways, feeling scared, I kept looking down on the ground while walking home. Suddenly, a shadow stretching towards me caught my eyes. Although there wasn't anyone around me, I looked up to see who was there and saw a woman walking in front of me. But she looked a little strange. I could say that she looked crippled. She was limping and struggling to walk in front of me since she was walking very slow. I soon caught up with her. Up close, I was able to see her even better. She was wearing dirty pink pajamas and looked if all the joints in her body had been twisted. Worse, her hair was a mess and sticking out to everywhere. It seemed so weird that I stopped walking. I felt like I shouldn't get any closer to her, nor did I have the guts to pass by her. You know, people say if you are really surprised, you can't even scream. That was right. I froze. Right there. Not being able to move. "Where's my baby?" she said. My thoughts are racing to her question. Oh my God. I don't even know what I was thinking when I did that. It gives me chills. Thinking at that moment, I answered, pointing as far as I could. Over there. I just wanted her to get away from me. Then she limped towards where I had pointed to, and I couldn't see her anymore. Fearing that I might run into her again, I tried to turn around and leave that apartment complex. I could not think of anything but to get to a place where there would be people around. At that moment, she said, "She's not here." I heard her screaming from far away. I don't remember anything from then on. I heard that my neighbor found me passed out on the ground and took me home. In 2007, at an apartment complex in Bangshong-dong, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, Seoul, a 33-year-old woman jumped off the apartment and died on the spot. Known as surnamed Cho, a divorcee due to her extra-material affair, she had lost her custody of her 2-year-old daughter and decided to commit suicide. After the incident, Cho was seen walking around the apartment complex several times.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Do you believe that story?
I mean, I do. It sounds very plausible and sounds very sad that a mother would commit suicide after losing custody of her child.
But do you believe the ghost story?
Well, she never found her child, so she has to go back and look for it, right?
Okay.
Do you believe
Do you think
it?
she exaggerated a little bit?
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
It was low-key creepy. The door outside is there's this cat.
There's a cat, and it was
It's our neighbor's cat,
scratching.
and she lets her go out, and for some reason she keeps coming back.
And she's like scratching at the door and listening to the story while the cat is scratching at the door.
It was a little
eerie.
bit creepy. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. The woman is here.
She's looking for
I
her
don't have
child.
your kid. Yeah, that was a little bit creepy.
That really was. It was good timing though for the cat's part.
I think she might have exaggerated at the end.
Probably a little bit, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Also, I believe the story is originally Korean and was translated, so anything could have been mistranslated on the way.
Lost in translation.
You can tell a little bit that I had to correct some sentences and still it was a little bit off.
Yeah. But I think we understood the idea behind it.
Should we go to the next story?
Let's do it. All right. This one's a little bit longer. But okay. I'm the manager of a small apartment complex in the downtown area of an irrelevant city. I have seen a lot of messed up stuff over the last 3 years, like one of those cat ladies you only hear about in folklores. She died, and they had to have animal control take away 30 cats. And I swear to God, I had no idea she had that many. I thought she had maybe 2 or 3. Anyway, last summer, I had another tenant who was even more fucked in the head. I can only tell you my half of the story, which I assure you is messed up enough as it is. So I get a call while I'm at the bar late Friday night from one of my tenants. Apparently they were alarmed at a decaying odor from the unit next door to theirs. I knew the guy living in it. He was really old. So my first thought is the guy had died or something, and the smell was his body. Pretty morbid. I was too drunk to drive, so I had a friend give me a ride back to my place. I asked my friend if he wanted to come with me to check on the guy, and he basically told me to fuck off, and that he didn't want to see a dead body. I thought, who doesn't want to see a dead body? I guess he wasn't as drunk as I was. I told him to wait in the car for a few minutes, which he agreed to. Looking back on it, I really should have made him come in with me. So I go up to the guy's door and knock a few times and yell, "Mr. Sherman, are you okay? I'm coming in to check on you." That's not his real name, obviously. But of course, I get no response, so I unlocked his door and headed on in. The smell hit my sinuses like a brick in the face. I've gutted moose before, so I know how bad the smell is when you smell it. This was, well, about the same smell, really. That's to say, it smelled more than enough for me to believe there was a dead body somewhere in there. Still, I had to make sure before I called the police. I didn't want to call them in on a week-old pot roast, or because the refrigerator was left open or something like that. So I went about exploring the apartment. I knew the layout already. Most of the units are the same. So I began to search the apartment room by room while holding my t-shirt over my face to keep myself from gagging. The living room, which is the first room when you enter, was surprisingly neat and clean. There were a bunch of books on the coffee table lined up in a neat stack, and the telephone was on the cabinet by the wall where it should be. Then I looked at the corner and reflexively let out a shit and backed up. There was a dog staring at me. It looked like a little black terrier, the Scotty kind. It wasn't growling or anything, so I thought he was just scared. And then I started laughing at myself for being afraid of it. It still wasn't moving. I was a little creeped out by how much time had passed, and it still wasn't moving. I thought, nah, it couldn't be. But sure enough, it was stuffed. The dude had stuffed a Scottish terrier in his living room. Weird. I was still in a good mood at this point and had to chuckle to myself over getting afraid of a stuffed dog. I turned to my left and walked into the kitchen. The kitchen was a little bit messy. I could tell somebody actually used this part of the apartment.
It's kind of crazy though.
I know. At
But
this
like,
point,
why would you? First of all, if the smell is that strong,
right.
you should probably call the cops.
Well,
Like it can't be a fridge and the neighbors
well, you never
are
know.
able to smell it. What do you mean?
Maybe it was a dead animal. I guess the smell
Well-
still could have caused a call
well,
for
you
the
still
cops.
just call the you still just call the cops if it's strong enough.
This guy was brave, though. He wanted to go in.
I don't think it's bravery. I think he's a little bit messed up in the head.
Well, it sounded like it.
Yeah, and the dead stuffed dog is not another red flag.
I mean, that would have been it for me.
And then the fact that nobody is answering.
Right. And
So
you
he's
still have
for
the
sure
smell.
it's either like something really, really messed up in there or a dead body.
It's something. Well, let's see what happens, shall we?
You sound very commercial right now.
So he's in the kitchen now, and there were just a couple of knives in the sink, and the counter had some crumbs on it and stuff. I opened the refrigerator up, hoping to God that that's where the smell was coming from. Nope, the refrigerator was completely empty. It looked like the guy hardly even used the apartment. There were almost no personal belongings in this living room or kitchen, except for a couple of plates that came with the place, and the weird stuffed dog in the living room. So I went back into the living room, and holy shit, the dog had moved. Actually, it didn't. There was a second dog behind the couch that I had not noticed the first time. Still, it almost gave me a heart attack. This weirdo guy had two stuffed dogs in his living room, both watching in different directions. The second dog was not a terrier. It was a little Shih Tzu or some long-haired little foo-foo dog. I don't know what they're called, but needless to say, I was WTFing pretty hard at this point, and my heart was beating so fast I could hear it in my eyes. You ever have your heart beat that fast that you can feel it?
Yeah, I think I've been there once or twice.
It's not a great feeling.
Maybe more than twice.
Anyway, I worked myself up a bit and went down the hallway and checked a closet. Nope, empty. The smell was definitely getting stronger now. Next was the first bedroom. The smell wasn't so strong there, so I didn't think I was going to find anything. And I should probably point out by now that I had turned on all the lights in this place. I wasn't going around with a flashlight or something like that. The neighborhood is not so good around here, so I'm always on guard for people jumping out and attacking me at night. So I flick on the lights in the bedroom, and it's pretty messed up. The mattress had been taken off the bed, and the sheets were all torn up. There was a shitload of holes and scratches in the wall. which were at chest level, so they most likely were from punching or scraping with a knife or something like that. Most disturbingly, there was a shitload of red stains on the carpet. They looked a lot like wine stains. And remember, I was drunk. So blood was not the first thing to pop in my mind.
How is blood not the first thing to think of?
Well,
he
was
just said
drunk.
like he said it was the walls were punched and there was like knife like
I mean,
scratches.
Yes.
There's two stuffed
There's a lot
dead
of
dogs
red flags in this.
and a really bad smell, and yet you're still that curious.
I mean,
This
drunk.
This is not gonna look good on court. In court,
it does not look very good. But blood was not his first thought.
hey, good thing for him. He's a very, very, very
adventurous,
courageous.
Exactly.
I wouldn't call that adventurous.
Brave. All I remember thinking at this point is, forget about the deposit. This guy is going to get charged out the ass. The whole experience of being in this apartment was starting to get at me, though. Every room I went into, I was half expecting to find a dead body. So I just wanted to find the source of the smell and get out of there. So I went into the bathroom, and there was a fur carpet in there. Except it wasn't a carpet. It was like 20 little furs all laid out on the floor. They were mostly brown and black, but there were a couple white ones. I couldn't tell if they had smelled bad, but they were definitely not the main source. I went down the hall to the second bedroom, timidly muttering stuff like, "Mr. Sherman, are you in here?" I started out in a good mood, but after getting startled that hard twice in a row, my adrenaline was going. Shit felt like a horror movie. Anyway, I walked into the bedroom and sure enough, there was a dead body. He was lying there face down on the bed with his knees on the floor and his pants off. Ass bare and pointed straight at the doorway, at me. Anyway, I got the fuck out at that point and told my friend in the car what I saw. Of course he didn't believe me until the police I called showed up. I never got to see the worst part, but one of the cops told me about it. Get ready for this. Apparently the dude was a veterinarian and had been taking home all the dead bodies of animals he had put down. He had made a fetish of skinning them and all, and just throwing the skinned bodies into the tub in the second bathroom.
Ew.
Yeah. He was throwing all the bodies in the first bathroom, which actually he was throwing in the second bathroom, but the first one was too good. So he kept all the furs in the first bathroom. The worst of the worst part is the guy died from a heart attack while jerking it with the intestines of one of the animals. Apparently he had made a fetish of using their guts as jerk-off sleeves and had let them pile up in the bathtub after he was done with them. In the end, the deposit, the $500, didn't begin to cover the damages of the apartment, let alone the emotional damage he did to the apartment manager. Me. Yep, I hate my job.
No shit. I mean, he could have avoided all of that if he just called the cops.
If he just didn't go in.
But hey, he would have not had a really, really cool story that we found on Reddit.
He would not have had a cool story, but he wouldn't have had all that emotional trauma for sure.
Oh, well, I feel like he asked for it pretty much.
He did by continuing to go into it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, at that point, he seemed very curious for it.
Yeah. Ew.
Yeah, that is a very morbid, very morbid story. Yeah, that's kind of, yeah.
This should be dropped on the 31st.
Just in time for Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Life as a property manager, scary stories, all of the above.
There's always going to be scary stories. It's going to be Halloween every single episode.
I think we have another one, right?
We got one more story that's a little bit shorter. What do you think about that one?
I am so glad I'm not a property manager because I would hate to ever have to experience something like that. because that is a very morbid story.
Yeah, I feel like that's not a very common thing, you know.
Yeah, I would hope that's not very common.
Yeah. Yeah.
But trust me, I would not want to walk into that.
Do you trust him?
I do. I think that's a real story.
I do think so too. I feel like it's so unique to the point that I don't think he made that up. This is a little bit too much. So I do
it sounds
trust
very personal.
him.
You trust him?
I trust him. All right, to the last and third story. Okay, so the story starts with a dude saying, okay, this is 100% true, even though most people I tell don't believe me.
Well,
so he's saying, trust me.
He is saying, trust me on this one from the beginning.
All right. When I was really little, my parents would let me stay up late on the weekends and watch TV until I fall asleep. I really loved these times, and I would stay up later than anybody else just because I could. Well, one night I was almost asleep on the couch when I heard a noise on the front porch. It was the sound of our old-fashioned porch swing moving back and forth. I was a little scared, so I crept toward the bay window of my living room and peeked out towards the porch. Sitting on my front porch was an older woman, probably in her 50s, wearing nothing but a nightgown, covered in blood, and holding a huge kitchen knife. I flipped out immediately and ran screaming into my parents' room, but was too terrified to form words. My parents saw that I was upset, but when I finally was able to tell them what I saw, my dad got really angry and told me that it was just a dream and to go back to my bed. I refused and kept crying and screaming until he had enough and snatched my arm and dragged me towards the front door to prove that nothing was there. I kicked and screamed all the way, trying to make him stop, but he kept pulling me. Finally, we got to the door. He unlocked it, swung it open, and said, "See, there's nothing in." To this day, I have never seen the look of fear and shock that was on his face. When that woman turned and stared at both of us and slowly stood up with the knife, my dad slammed the door shut and got my mom to call the police while he went and got his gun. He went back to the door with a 12
gauge gun. No way.
It's what? How did you know?
That's what it sounded like. Is that what it was?
Yeah. Wow. It's as if like he already knew. Cracked the door enough to stick the barrel out. He asked her what she was doing, and she said, "Somebody killed my husband, but it wasn't me." My dad told her that the police were coming, and she freaked out, grabbed the knife, and walked away. The police found her 15 minutes later trying to break into one of our neighbors' houses. I never slept in the living room again. Oh yeah, I forget that after she left, my dad called and warned my crazy uncle, who lived next door, what was happening. Apparently, he was waiting on his front porch with his shotgun. When she kept walking by, he pointed it at her and just said to her, "Keep moving, bitch."
Jeez.
There's an update. I just talked to my mom, and she said that they never really found out the whole story. But apparently, she was crazy and off her medications. Her and her husband got into a fight, and she tried to attack him with a knife, but didn't seriously hurt him. When he got her out of the house, she cut herself with a knife, either trying to commit suicide or make it look like her husband did it. The police never talk to us about it. So that's just that.
I believe this story.
Yeah,
What do you mean, eh?
I don't know.
Come on, a lady who's trying to
If
cause
someone
problems.
is trying so hard to convince me that the story is real, like
Then
maybe
you're
it
right.
isn't. You know
Maybe
what I
it
mean?
isn't.
Also, like, what is this? Like a small town? Like they have
It
3
has to be.
houses.
It has to
Oh,
be a
like they
small
told
town.
their uncle, hey, there's a crazy lady right outside. She's probably gonna walk by your house.
It would have to be a small town where
So
everybody
she
lives
walked-
next to each other.
So she walked by his house.
She must have. She must have, where your family lives all in the same block. It's got to be one of those towns. You never know.
I guess we never know. It's
Yeah.
one of those towns where there's like 4 houses.
Yeah, and the whole family lives on the same block.
And she's just walking by.
Well, she sounds like she's trying to cause some problems. It's kind of what it sounds like.
I guess the fun in this that it's a mystery.
Exactly. We'll never know.
Okay. So you do trust him.
Yeah, I do. I trust him on this one.
Not me. Now to the fun part.
Yeah, get to the fun part now.
Should we like put some like happy music?
We should have some
I
little
don't
happy
know.
music for the fun part of this. Well, is it really that fun though? It's a little more exciting.
This is my favorite part. Is the scary stories.
I know that's your favorite part. This next part is gonna be my favorite part.
I told him this is like it's so much fun to prep for this because I get to sit down and read all these crazy stories and pick out of them.
I know, and your favorite. You love the scary stories, the scary movies,
love
all of that.
Scary stories. I am obsessed. I go to sleep listening to scary stories.
Wow.
I get relaxed.
I don't know how you relax. Oh, jeez.
I enjoy it.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know. I don't know what's the secret behind. I feel like a lot of people do that too, though.
I don't know. I would be very curious to know if other people listen to scary stories to fall asleep.
I had a really good excuse.
Okay, let's
and
hear
I can't remember it.
Oh, okay. Maybe it wasn't that good of an excuse.
No, it was a really good excuse.
Okay, well, if you remember, you have to let us know.
I will. Scoot, scoot. Is that what they say?
I think so.
Scooch.
Scooch. Scooch your booch.
Why do the money?
It should be in your account or something like that. How does it go?
Why do the money? Should be coming from the bank overseas. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, to the dating part of this thing.
Exactly.
Yay.
All right.
So I asked you guys to ask me questions or tell me stories, anything dating related on Instagram. You can always do that. DM me for now until we have our own page.
Exactly.
Feel free to send me a DM regarding any dating advice, any dating stories that you want us to read out loud.
Where can they DM you? What's your Instagram?
It's KAYESHURRICNE.
Perfect.
Yes, I practiced this so long. I can do it now. I can spell. Anyway, so let's start. We're going to do a couple just because it is super, super late and I want to drop this episode tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
From Dustin. Dustin says, dating advice, ? I'm a guy. How to approach the guy in the office next to mine and ask for a date. I don't know if he is gay or not, though.
Thoughts?
Sorry.
What do you think?
Should I just answer?
Yeah, let's hear what you have to say and I'll add my 2 cents.
Okay. The co-host gave me the mic to the host. Hola. So since you're working together, I would assume here that you would not prefer to ask this person straight away, if they are gay or not. And I always say communication is always key. I personally just go for it. I always take a risk. Life is full of risks.
And you miss all the shots that you don't take anyways. So
But yeah, I would just like, if you are avoiding to ask this person straight up. I also know that a lot of people might have toxic masculinity if they are straight, and you call them gay. They take it as an offense, even though that's not. That's very toxic. That shouldn't be the case. Um, but if that's the case here, and this is your work partner, I honestly, I would try to start a conversation. You work in the
Yeah.
um
building.
same building, probably same company. You have a lot of things in common. You can complain about somebody, complain about something, start
Right.
up a conversation, invite this person out, try to get this
Yeah.
person to meet you out of the workspace, to see you as who you are in real life, and you see them as who they are. You can always sneak in
Right.
few questions here and
Yep.
there
There's
to see
specific
if
questions.
to see, if they are gay or not. Are you homophobic? Kind of vibe. Are you a Nicki fan? Billie Eilish? You like Lady Gaga?
Yeah, some of those questions
Are
are
you
very
LGBT
telling.
qua?
Yeah, see,
Is your gum pink?
and depending
Are
on
you
how
a
they
river in
answer,
Egypt?
and how they answer will tell you exactly, what you need to know.
Which All Stars do you watch? The
Yes.
Spurt or RuPaul?
That I think will answer your question there for you just fine.
Yeah, so start from there. Jokes aside.
Yeah.
Or you can literally just stalk their Instagram account, see who they follow.
You can always go that route, start
Yeah.
there.
I do that all the time, and they don't even have to know.
You sound like you have the experience of
I
looking
have
through
all
their
kind of
Instagram.
experiences. I am an alien,
Exactly.
a legal one. I have my papers with me. I'm a spirit,
So, back to
a free spirit
you sure are.
with a green card.
Maybe there's a whole conversation for you.
Let's go to the last question. One time I went on a date with this person. They were cute. I told them that they had nice hands. We held hands. We went back to their place, and I didn't realize until I was inside of them that they only had one hand. They hid it from me the entire time. Now I check for two hands every time I'm on a date. I felt my soul leave my body. Then I said, okay, you can either leave right now and never look back, or you can be a man and finish. I never came faster in my life.
Oh, interesting situation.
What would your reaction be?
I think I'd be caught off guard for sure. But I don't know. I feel like at some point I would, find out, if not intentionally find out if there were two hands, but I feel like you'd see that beforehand.
Okay. This situation is making John very nervous. He is very afraid of being canceled before even becoming.
No.
Yeah, honestly, like, it definitely would catch me off guard. I feel like that is something that is worth mentioning. Not necessarily something that would be a deal breaker. If I'm attracted to someone, I feel like I would be attracted to them. But I personally, like, whenever I represent myself to others, I try to mention anything that might be something that they might reject me for, I would say, just to not like be rejected later on. Like, I don't want them to find out something later on and be the reason for rejection if they are against a certain thing that is a part of who I am.
Right.
I usually try to mention it and see what they would react to it. So it's not necessarily for the other person, it's for you. I feel like
Right, more
it
for
is something
yourself.
that you should probably mention. But yeah, I wouldn't. That's a crazy story. I feel like that would. that's an uncommon.
I was just say very unique.
Yeah, crazy, crazy.
For sure.
All right, I guess. Fuck. It's okay. I'll find a beep on the internet and beep that one. Yeah. Our friend here asked to stay anonymous, and yet I keep saying their name over and over again.
Over and over and over.
If you have
again.
anything you want me to mention,
Mhm.
if you have a scary story that has happened to you and is real,
Yes.
don't forget to DM me with "Trust me, the story is real." And if you have any dating stories or you need any
Questions.
dating advice from a
Right.
friend who
Mhm.
tends to be good at giving dating advice, I would hope
Yeah.
so. I don't know yet, I guess.
We'll find out.
We'll find out
But
from the comments if anybody listening to this.
right. But you can trust you.
It's 3 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, it is. And we're here to help you at this hour.
Well, whenever, if you're listening to this on Halloween or after Halloween, it's gonna be Halloween probably every single episode. I can't wait to read more horror stories. I can't wait to see more of your stories and dating life and questions. It means a lot to me for you to reach out and
Yeah.
to want to be in part of this.
Exactly.
Especially at the beginning. We are trying to make this happen and we're trying to get this show going.
Yes, we appreciate your support.
Yeah. So, in whatever platform you're listening to this on,
Mhm.
or if you're watching this, show us some support.
Yeah, and trust me.
Okay, okay. I see you. I see you. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Until next time.
Give us like the evil laugh. Okay, whatever. That was like such a boring one.
Well, like that.
That's like very stereotypical.
Perfect.
You're a stereotypical guy.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You sound like a goat. That was the best I got for you.
Can you pop?
Mm-mm.
Bye.
Bye.